Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Boozy Botanical Podcast. My name is Holly.
And I'm Angelique.
And we are back with another episode.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Boozy Tuesday. I hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving, are getting in the holiday spirit, because as we're recording this, it's already December 2nd. Like, what?
I know. I just feel like it happened out of nowhere. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We had our first recording for Boozy, not live, but like our first recording, I think it was December 11th. We're almost at our year.
That's insane.
Just like recording together.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so crazy. This year has really gone by fast.
So fast. It's weird. I'm just like, oh.
I know.
Holly, what are you drinking?
So, okay, it is early today, so I'm drinking coffee. And
I don't blame you.
Yes, but it's really good. It's basically, I think the brand is called it's called Stoke or something, cold brew.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah, and then
nice. Cold brew.
Yeah, and then I just have the what's it called? It's an oat milk latte, oatmeal cookie flavor.
Oat milk
so good.
Latte. Wow, that sounds really good.
It's actually it's very much like, I consider it like a holiday flavor. I've been very much in the mood of like getting in the holiday spirit and feeling cozy. So although this flavor is sold year round, it's perfect for December.
Yeah, it's fitting.
Yeah.
Well, as Holly said, guys, it's early for us as a recording. We met up at 7:45 Pacific.
Just for you guys, okay.
Right, literally. Did not want to be up that early, guys. But alas, we're here. But it's all good. So I'm drinking water. My first glass of the day.
Good old water. We are hydrated queens.
Yes. I literally rolled out of bed, and we have a guest staying with us, and they were in my room where my closet is, and they're normally up early. So I was like, oh, I'll just, change at one point. But they were in the room, and I was like, oh, I can't change for this. So I am, but luckily I found this sweater that's kind of cute. So I was like, okay, I'll just put thank you. Just like, I just feel like I was like, oh my God, like the sun is like earlier in the sky, if that even makes sense.
Like, it was kind of dark when you first showed up on camera. I was like, it's dark. I'm like, oh wow, it's so early.
Yes.
So
but
funny.
It's all good. I've made it. I'm drinking classic H2O, not even a liquid IV. I just went, all natural.
Yeah. You know what?
Sorry,
It's okay.
guys.
We love a sober queen, so who cares?
It's sober December, apparently.
Yeah.
But Holly, oh my gosh, before, like, I know we're going to get into updates and things, but wasn't it your anniversary yesterday?
Yes, it was our anniversary. I love having December 1st as a wedding anniversary, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just fun. And every year it's just exciting to celebrate on the first day of like essentially the holidays, like the real holiday season, you know?
Yeah.
So it was good. We sort of like kept it a little bit more low key this year, but we did get our very first real Christmas tree together as a couple.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Have you ever had a real tree ever?
Growing up, we always did real trees.
Cool.
So, but it had been like, oh my gosh, probably a good maybe 10 years since I've had a real tree.
Wow.
And yeah, I know. I literally had Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift stuck in my head for like a good part of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, just walking because we didn't go to a farm, but we did go to, Lowe's. So we went to Lowe's to get a Christmas tree, but even just like walking in walking in like the tent where they have everything and the smell, it just, it brought back so much nostalgia.
Yeah.
And yeah, just really cool. So it was a really, really fun day. And yeah, 3 years of marriage just flying by, I swear.
Oh my gosh. And you guys dated for how long before that?
We dated, 3 years, because we just had our 6-year dating anniversary. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So over half a decade.
I know.
Oh my
Crazy.
god, that's so cute. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because me and Josh are just like right behind you guys as far as dating goes.
that's right. You guys are 5 years?
5.5 now. We'll be more than 5.5. We'll be 6 years in March.
Ah, coming
I know. So we're
up.
we're just like bringing up the rear.
That's right.
Yeah. What kind of tree was it? Do you know?
Okay, it was a oh
Trees
fuck.
are plants, people. So
They are. And the guy was like, "Here we have our Douglas firs, we have our noble firs." So I I like the kind of trees that are not as bushy, like a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, like bare a little bit, but they're
okay.
still fluffy. Like the guy basically said the tree we picked out was like a hybrid. I want to say it
Okay.
was really, he told us, but I don't remember. So it's not super fluffy with like very flimsy branches. Cause sometimes if
Yeah.
you guys had real trees, you try to hang an ornament and it's like a little flimsy.
It
This,
bends. Yeah.
yeah, this one's much more sturdy.
Okay.
And you can kind of see the stalk in the middle of the
Like
tree.
yeah. Like the
It's just a little,
trunk.
the trunk. Thank you.
The stalk.
I don't know.
No, you're okay.
It's just street terminology, but what was I saying? Yeah,
Oh,
it's
the flimsiness of a usual tree, but you got a
yes.
different one, the
It's much
hybrid.
more, yeah, it's much more sturdy. I think it's really beautiful. It's like a 7 foot. It basically, because we don't have very high ceilings in this house, so it's
Okay.
just like an inch away from hitting the ceiling.
So do you have a topper on it?
Not yet. Okay, because we went to Walmart to get a bunch of lights and we just didn't see any stars that we liked. And
Yeah.
we kind of went like non-traditional versus like, the red and green. We actually did like gold, rose gold, and
Ooh.
then black bulbs.
Oh my god, that sounds so nice.
It's pretty cool. I was like, man, are these colors working? Because me and Tyson like picked all the colors together. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, we're not a traditional family. We have to do something other than red and green.
Yes.
It's
Oh, I love
like, okay.
that.
It was pretty cool. But we got some lights that were supposed to be warm toned, like twinkle lights for the tree.
Nice.
And dude, they're very cool toned. Like we were a little upset.
Oh,
We wanted to be like
like
warm
a
and
warm
not like
glow.
exactly, but it's a
Right.
little bit cool tone for us. But we're gonna get some more and
Everyone send Holly some warm lights.
please.
See how cute that.
My PO box will be listed in the show notes. I'm just kidding.
We need lights, people. We just need them.
Yeah. But besides that, the really only other updates is that my El Chaco started growing.
Oh
And
my gosh,
then
that's a big deal.
yes, it's a little nub.
Ah!
Now a couple weeks ago we were talking about houseplant pests, if you guys
Yes.
remember. And we had said, like, oh, white flies? Who gets white flies?
Oh wait, we're talking about like whoever sees
Whoever
these.
sees, yeah, like they're always mentioned as like, yeah,
Oh
you could
no.
potentially get something called white flies, but it's more like a myth. It's like
Like you've
folklore.
never dealt with one, right?
No, until recently, it is not folklore. It is true.
What happened?
Well, it's not that big of a deal, thankfully. But my giant Adansonii that you guys all know
Yes, the new
about,
one.
that had white flies on it on the new growth. And I had this really good,
Ugh.
like, miticide sort of insecticidal soap.
Right.
And basically, I just had to be pretty aggressive with it. And it seems to be
Okay.
good now. But
Oh
yeah, I
wow.
believe it because it came from an outdoor nursery. Um, it probably would have been fine if I had kept it outdoors, but because we've been getting cold at night, like dipping into the 40s, I decided to keep it indoors for now. But
Right.
as you all know, indoors we don't have beneficial insects naturally. So
To
I
fight off. Right.
that's when I noticed it. So yeah, white flies, not fun. They do basically the same damage that thrip and it's kind of like spider mites do. They
Oh
go after,
no.
yeah, they go after the new growth, and it's just they're kind of ugly. They kind of remind me of like mealybugs. I'm like, oh, and they fly, dude. Like I would try to squish it like I would a mealybug, and it's like, bloop, bloop.
No.
I'm like, bitch, get back here. Yeah.
Ugh.
They're not pretty. This is not good.
Ugh. Oh
But
my god,
alas,
gross.
we are okay. We are pulling through Miss Adansonii. is, she's gonna
Wow.
be okay.
Mhm.
So that
Oh
is
my
my
god.
tea.
So I have a few planty updates myself. I told you
Tell us.
guys that I had purchased that um the Veitchii a few months ago, that little one
Mhm.
leaf one that was gorgeous. The leaf died right away. And it like literally disintegrated. It looked like I set it on fire. And like it turned like a
Melted.
very like burnt black throughout. It was
I
I don't
wonder
know
if
what
it
I
was
did.
cold damage or something,
It
'cause
was
that's
in my it was in my grow tent or my
yeah, the
that
cabinet.
thing, the cabinet, and then the thing behind me, and,
Oh,
it
no.
started to deteriorate, and then I put it in the bathroom because I added water and I just left it in there for a few days, and that's where it continued its demise, but it had new growth, like a potential pregnancy point, you know?
Yeah,
So, I just chopped the leaf off and I left part of the stem. And
got it.
then, it's just kinda been weird. The roots are very chunky and white. And
That's fair.
so, earlier this week, Josh's mom was in she's still here. She's the guest who's staying with us. So,
Nice.
she and I were putting bouquets of flowers together, and I had a big, I don't know what size this is in terms of, like, measurements, but, like, a decent jar's worth of river stones from I think someone had
Cute.
given it to me from Target. So like a threshold sort
Love
of
it.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And we used them as a base for the bouquet, so we used all the rocks, and so I had this, like, clear vessel with a lid, and it's bigger than anything I've ever had as far as, like, cloths or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
So I was like, "You know what?" And the Vici is fully in spag, so I was like, "I'm just gonna throw it in there and try to give it a ton of humidity." So I had
Yes.
never unpotted it, and I only bought it, like, 2 or 3 months ago, because she had it in, like, maybe like a 4-inch tall, that very clear, thin, sort of nursery pots that people put orchids in at
Yes.
supermarkets, but,
I think
like,
it's called
almost
nursery
paper
pot.
thin.
Oh,
It was
interesting.
weird, there was no structure to it, so it would, like, with
Floppy.
the roots, because the roots I could see at the bottom because the pot was clear, and it was, like, doming at the bottom because it was so, like, it was pretty much like paper plastic thin, which was really
Wow.
weird. Yeah, and so I took it out. There's a chunk in there this big and this thick around. Like,
Oh,
okay,
goodness.
bigger so people listening, the chunk was probably 3.5 inches long, maybe 4 tops, and lo like, at least a half dollar or a little bit larger in circumference, so it's definitely bigger than a
It's a
quarter.
girthy
Think about the
boy.
biggest coin there is, and it's probably around that size.
It's a Sacagawea.
Yes.
Remember those?
Which one's bigger, Sacagawea or half dollar? I think
I
half dollar might
think a
be,
half
right?
dollar, but the Sacagawea is, like, gold and, like, thick.
Prettier.
So
Yeah,
of
so it's
course.
both. But, it was huge, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and it had that woody look that's kind of dark that, like, we've talked about Gloriosums looking like, where it's like, "This has
Yeah,
to be dead," but then it's
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
But, the growth point is still there, and it had thick roots, but, like, it's interesting because the chunk was, like, again, 3.5 inches, and the thick root that I have is coming from the top near the grow point. So most of the chunk doesn't have roots except for the top. So I don't
Right,
know. I
yeah,
don't know why. You
I
what?
have a plant like that too.
That's
It's so
interesting.
interesting, yeah.
So I was like, "Well, I'm hoping this is a good sign as far as its resilience and strength if it's that mature of a cutting
Yeah,
in theory." So, I threw it in there, and this just happened last night. I don't even think you guys I can grab it really quick just to show you.
yeah.
Um,
That's very smart though, because it's just like you're basically forcing the plant to, like, get better, like,
Open, and you can already see it's getting really humid.
Yes, look at that, all that condensation.
Yes, so I put it in here. So it's like a
Very
hard
nice.
plastic, it's called if you guys ever buy this, it's from Threshold, and it's called the vase filler rocks. It's 5 pounds of rocks was in here. So you do the
Nice.
math. I don't know what that means, but, I it had a solid top that you could twist onto it, and I was like, "Oh, that's good," but then I figured my greenhouse has been a little tight on space, and so I wasn't sure if I put a solid gray top if it was gonna get enough light. So
Yeah,
I
that
just
makes
put
sense.
plastic wrap over it. So now I
Perfect.
can, like, see what's happening, so I'll keep you guys posted, but I'm starting to learn that some of my plants, I only like, I because you and I have talked about the pros and cons with spag,
Yeah.
but, I've noticed that some of them they do fine in spag, and when I convert, I'm having problems. Like I try to
Mm.
kill every alocasia leaf that comes into my house, but then I put the little, what are they called again? We used to
Corms
know.
or something?
The little, like, yeah, the little nubs
Yeah,
that
the ones that you find in like the
and
yeah.
you can, like, make plants out of those. But
Mhm.
we no, I don't think we called it that. We called it something else once. Whatever. Words, the thing
Yeah.
that the plant grows out of.
We
And,
have like one word that people call them,
what
but
did you
they're
call it right
like
now?
huh?
What did you call it right now?
Corm? Like corn but with
Yeah.
an M.
Yeah, what are they called?
Or
I
they're
thought
called tubers,
maybe tubers? Alocasia,
sweet potatoes.
um, what are they?
Yeah, like well, they're little offsprings. They're little like
I'll
little
put offspring
offsprings.
name. Oh, are they? They
They're
said they're tuberous. So yeah, I guess they're tubers, but I thought we used something different. But anyway, I'll call it a tuber. So, but then whenever I kill an alocasia leaf and I have no leaf left, I've always taken the tuber and put it in spag, and then it grows again. And then I put it back in another
Mhm.
pot, and then it dies again. And then it's been this cycle for like a year. So I have tons of these
Yeah,
little tubers with
bulbs.
like bulbs. We
There it
call them
is.
bulbs.
Bulbs.
That's what
See,
it
that's
was.
cuter. It's more on
Yeah,
brand for the
bulbs are
holiday
cute.
season.
Thank you.
More Christmas bulbs.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm noticing that certain plants of mine, like it's specifically alocasia, and who knows, maybe this veitchii, I'm not sure. Just really like spag.
It's like
Uh,
they need like an in between if they're gonna go from like sphagnum or water. But
right,
yeah, I've done the dirty moss method where it's essentially sphagnum moss with soil mixed in, so they get a little bit
right.
of nutrients. I think I've talked about it before, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you
it's
like that method?
I do specifically
Okay.
with Anthurium because their roots are so hardy and like thick. Like if you're doing that with like
Mm.
Hoya or even some
Right.
philodendron roots, they're so stringy that that's why I don't always like sphagnum because when you go to convert or you go to try to remove the roots, you just get a lot of breakage or
Right.
not
Oh,
remove
we
the
did
root.
talk about this once.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you remove the moss from the roots.
Got
So,
it. I
but yeah.
speaking of Hoya though, and I've been I've been doing I've been continuously doing an experiment of like water propagating Hoya versus perlite. I
Yeah.
like both, but I think what you said before, perlite's the stronger method. I'm
Yeah.
realizing I'm really into Hoya. I'm becoming you, Holly.
Ah, yes.
I don't know, they're clicking for me in a way that I think I
Yes.
struggle with some other families, but Hoya's doing okay. Like when I was gone, which I'll let you guys know why we skipped a recording, but
Yeah.
when I was in Arizona, I didn't like because I had been working on my film project that I told you guys about. We shot 2
Yes.
films. It went really well, but I was nonetheless very busy. And after that ended on Saturday, the 20th, Saturday the 20th when we wrapped. The 21st was Sunday. I was going to relax and then catch up on plants and stuff, but then I had to hurry to Arizona and I came back a week later and it was pretty bad. I had
Oh,
a lot of damage control to do. And Josh
oh,
was so nice. He's like, I did what I can, but I didn't know what I could water, what I was not allowed to water. And I was
oh.
like, I was not caring about plants to
Yeah,
that
you're
week.
not
Like
in a
totally
place.
fine.
Yeah.
But then I had Hoya that were just hanging out, enjoying life, and everything else was like dying. And I was like, that's okay, whatever. Even my favorite, my mame, was like on the brink. And I was like, no.
Oh,
I'm losing my first leaf on that one, but I'm getting new growth still, so that's okay. That's
good.
one that I'm noticing loves spag.
I think they do. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna leave it alone. I
There
guess you're
you
staying
go.
in I'm gonna like paint the Starbucks cup so I can pretend it's a real pot. But
Show it.
just to update you guys quickly, Holly and I, because we had a few people asking like, what happened? Thank you
Yes.
for checking in. So we talked about how there was a personal family thing that came up. So I had that 21st, so that Sunday, I got a call from my mom. I knew my dad had been taken to the ER because he had lost feeling in his body all of a sudden. Like it was as if he was paralyzed, but nothing happened. There was no
Mhm.
accident to make him paralyzed. My dad's 71, just to give you guys an idea of age. And so they ran an MRI on Sunday and immediately after had to go into emergency surgery in Tucson.
Oh.
My dad had a tumor. I don't even know if I told you this, a tumor shaped like a donut, and his spine was going through the hole and it was
Oh.
squeezing on all ends. So it literally caused my dad to go numb.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So they needed to go into immediate surgery to alleviate the pressure on the spinal cord, which
Mhm.
they did success. It was an 8.5 hour surgery, and it was really invasive because they had to literally like flip him as
Yeah.
they went to get to all sides of the donut. So
Oh,
it was a crazy surgery. I felt heavily for the surgeon, but
yes.
long story
No.
short, I got a call at about 4 p.m. Pacific, and it was like my mom, and she was like, I could tell she had been crying, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like you think the worst right
Right,
away,
of course.
and my dad gets on the phone and he's crying and like saying goodbye because he's like thinking he's not going to make it. He made it out of surgery, and so I got that call and I found a flight that was leaving 3 hours later from the point of that call. So I just hopped on a flight. I went home. So I was with my mom throughout that night. He made it through surgery and he was in the hospital for about like 8 or 9 days and then got transferred to a rehab facility. So he's at rehab now and is getting better. He's thankfully getting his motor function back. They weren't sure he was going to walk again, but he's
Oh
been
my
walking.
God.
So that's a
Good.
really good sign. He was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is bone cancer. So they're now going to treat it with radiation and decide whether or not chemo is a necessity. It might not be at this point because even though it's called multiple myeloma, because normally it's just common that it's in more than one bone area,
Yeah.
his seems to only be at his neck where they operated. So
Got it.
pending a biopsy that will determine whether or not he needs chemo. So that's kind of where we're at, but my dad's doing a
Mm.
lot better, so it's okay, everybody. It's a
Yes.
it's a day-by-day process, of course, but I was home for a week. Like I wasn't this was Thanksgiving week and I wasn't going to go home for the holidays. So this was all very unexpected. So Josh stayed in LA with the cat and I went home. So
Yeah.
I got back now if today's December 2nd that we're recording, I got back the Saturday prior. So
Yeah.
whatever that was, the
It's so
27th.
crazy. I feel for you so much because, like, with, cancer and family, like, we've had to
Mhm.
deal with that a lot in our family, like,
We've been
exactly
through it.
that,
Yeah.
like, where we're literally driving through the night because, like,
I
you're
remember
feeling.
you've told me.
Yeah, so I was immediately like, "Oh my god, Angelique," like, my
I
heart was breaking for you. I'm like,
Thank
"No."
you.
And I literally it's so funny because my grandma, she is like we call her a prayer warrior because she's like, "I am praying for you." And then I'm like, "Oh,
Yep.
grandma, it worked out." So I, like, texted my mom, I'm like, "Tell grandma to pray
Oh,
for Angelique's dad." She's
aw.
like, "We are." I'm like, "Okay, thank you."
Oh, if you guys are listening,
Sweet.
thank you. Tell Nana thank you.
Yes.
That's so sweet. I
I
really
know.
appreciate it. There was a
Yeah.
few little prayer circles going around. My dad's side of the family is really religious, so they were like, the Lord does miracles and like,
Mhm.
so I was like, I appreciate it. Thank you. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's okay. And yeah, tell your grandma thank you. I really
I
appreciate it.
will,
You
yeah.
texted me that and I was like, "Oh."
I know.
Josh's mom, she has a group that she calls her prayer warriors as well.
So sweet.
It's really sweet. Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's definitely been helpful. Even my dad's like he keeps telling me like it's a miracle that I'm alive because he's a very stubborn man, drove from Idaho, Boise to Florence, Arizona, which is like it's an hour south of Phoenix
Yeah.
with my aunt who was moving to our house in Florence. And he was feeling like numbness beginning when he left Boise and didn't stop. And he didn't tell us for like over 2 days during his travel.
Oh, no.
Like he literally operated a U-Haul with just feeling in his toe, in his big toe.
Oh my
And he like should not be here. It's
what?
crazy.
'Cause you
I
could
was
think, like, you
I
could
was
get an accident.
livid. He could have
Yeah.
killed anyone, not to mention them. And,
Oh.
like, I found out, like, she was having to put my aunt's, like, in her 80s, like, she was having to put the key in the ignition because his hands weren't working. But God forbid you call the fire department to just, like, give you a leg up, like,
Yeah.
yeah, my dad was already numb at that point, and, like, it does not make sense that he made it home. It's absolutely
Wow.
crazy. Yeah,
Oh
so
my god.
it's
Your poor
been
mom.
oh
Jeez.
my god, she was pissed. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Like, other than just being traumatized and upset, she was just I was angry. I was like, "This is ridiculous. Like, you
Yeah.
should have been treated on a Tuesday. You weren't treated until Sunday."
And it's like, dads and men, they
Totally.
wanna be strong, they don't want to admit, it's like, of course, it's like, you
Mhm.
see your dad is just, like, indestructible. So I'm sure it's really
like a
hard for
rock.
him to
Oh,
come to terms with that.
100%. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. And my dad, it's like he's Armenian, and on top of, and they're just don't at me, or at me if you want. I don't care if you're Armenian and you're listening to it. It's a stubborn culture, and we all know it. And especially the older generation, and it's kind of like work, work, work. You never take a break.
Yeah.
So God forbid you hear anything's wrong, So it's been, he's been very emotional just because having to come to terms with the fact that you're not indestructible sort of feeling. So we've been
Mhm.
getting through that, but it's going okay. It was a hard week last week. I have a lot of family members that were like, "We're coming," and I'm like, "No, don't come because you're
Oh,
annoying." So
yes,
not
I
annoying, but you
know.
know what I mean. Like
I get it.
there's certain family members that can show up that are gonna actually help and like, stay out of your way. And because my mom's having to like run their business. Like the business didn't
Wow.
stop because my dad fell on hard times. Like
Right.
houses have to get sold, things weren't done. My mom's like installing toilets on Thanksgiving Day. Like it
Oh
was,
god.
like herself doing it. So it's
Yeah,
like there was a lot to be done. And there's some family that are like, if they showed up, you have to host them. You can't just be like, I'm going to work, bye. And
right.
it's also all like being seniors and stuff. So thankfully, a lot of people were checking in and being really nice, but I was sort of in charge of talking to family. Like I told people, I was like, you do not text my mom. Like leave her alone. She has
Yeah.
so much going on. So I was sort of the liaison between my mom, dad, and the hospital and everyone else because my mom took his phone away. He wasn't allowed to
Yeah.
have his phone. So you've lost that privilege. He hasn't had his phone over a week.
Oh my
Believe
god.
me, he's like a teenager when it comes to his phone because his business is through his phone.
Yeah.
So, like, but he at the same time also couldn't use his hands for a few days. So, like, it was
Right.
pointless to have his phone.
Give
And
yourself a rest, like, just
right, talk about a social media reset.
yeah.
But yeah, but everything's okay. We're feeling we're feeling optimistic. The doctor said that this cancer responds very well to radiation, and most people go into remission. It's
Good.
just a matter of, that biopsy and keeping tabs on how it's going. So,
Yeah.
and the fact that he's walking is a really big sign because they were saying, like, don't expect him to. Like, you never know.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, it seems like
Yeah.
your dad is overall healthy and this, like
Yeah,
freak things happen to anyone at any age.
totally.
So,
Right. It could happen to anybody. Exactly. He has his health issues pre-existing, but like, nutrition wise and everything, like he's not overweight. He's probably like sometimes I think he's underweight. Like he's very thin, but like
yeah.
he has some muscle on his bones. And that was a big thing is that this all happened. Like he was able to pick up a spoon on his own and like feed himself within like 5 days of post-op.
That's
And
amazing.
before he couldn't. So it's like he was telling me, he was like, I think my muscles haven't had a chance to atrophy. Like they haven't lost their mass. So
Yeah.
he was able to bounce back quicker than others would expect. So
Good.
I'm hoping that's the case. But now he's in rehab, so he's getting 3 hours a day. And before he was doing 40 minutes and was showing a lot of improvement. I'm sure he's tired doing
Yeah.
it 3 hours a day. It's broken up, but I'm optimistic that things are gonna lighten up. So we weren't gonna
Yes.
go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and now we're going home for Christmas. So we'll see him then.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so it'll be
Oh,
okay, but thank you guys for your patience and,
of course.
understanding that we couldn't post an episode last week,
Yeah,
but, we're here, we're doing the thing,
we're
so
doing the
I
thing.
appreciate you, Holly, thank
Oh my
you.
god, of course, and obviously, if you need anything, I told Angelique, I'm like, "I know I'm in Florida, but I'm still here if you need anything."
I was like, "Thank you." Well, you're coming to Arizona for a teeny bit, right?
I am. Well, since the last time we recorded, my grandmother passed away,
Oh
so
gosh, I'm so sorry, Holly, I just
no,
outed
it's
you.
okay. No, oh my
I just
god,
meant that it's like travel.
no, it's totally fine.
No,
So,
she's gonna haunt me.
no. She was a very sweet lady, so I'm
Okay,
sure she
good.
won't haunt you.
And if she does, she'll probably offer me tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Aw, I'm
No, it's
sorry, though,
okay.
I am sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, it's okay. She was
Yeah.
pretty, like, not in good health for
Yeah,
a while, so we knew it was coming. It's just,
right.
it's more so hard on my dad, that was his
Of
mom,
course.
so, but I'm always happy to go back home. So I think it's going to be an overall good trip, a good visit with family,
Definitely.
and then I'm really lucky that they're coming out to Florida for Christmas. So,
Oh my gosh, is your sister coming?
yes.
How crazy. So
And
it's
she hasn't
literally
seen
the whole family.
the whole family.
Her
She hasn't
boyfriend
seen
too?
her boyfriend has to work. He literally only has Christmas Day off. So, he
Oh,
has to stay
he'll be
behind.
with the kittens.
Mhm. Haley's like,
Oh.
"Okay, see ya."
Bye. I'm gonna go where it's warmer. Oh, well, I'm
Yeah.
excited for you. That's gonna be so much
Yeah. I'm
fun.
really excited. So,
Oh, yay.
yes.
Oh my god, there was one more thing I wanted to tell you guys though before we get into
Yes.
our topic. Um, so during all of this, I was trying to just back up my mom however I could, and she had plants that needed to get potted up. We never actually got to the potting part, but I went to go buy soil. I had texted you being
Yes.
like, "Is this fine?" Because I only had
Yes.
Lowe's. Or was I at I was at Home Depot. I only had Home Depot as an option that day, and I found like a palm cacti succulent mix, and she mainly has orchids, but then she also has a few philodendron and Hoya.
And a
Like
Christmas cactus,
and
right?
oh yeah, mainly Christmas cactus on that and orchids are her top 2. So Holly was like, "That'll do just fine." So I'm peeking around just like you have to look at the garden center.
Of
So
course.
I look at the plants. They were carrying a lot of good stuff, and in particular, they were carrying Hindu rope.
That is
I paid
crazy.
$7.88 for like a 4-inch pot.
That's just like
I was
it blows my mind.
overflowing. We've
Yeah,
not never saw that ever. Do you see it in Florida?
never. In Florida, yes, but even
Okay.
still, I feel like it's not
Not even in
common,
Arizona. Yeah, it was like a weird
Yeah,
fluke.
that is so cool.
So I brought a
That's
plant
like you
back.
got 2, right?
I did. I gave one to my mom because when my mom was in town while I, checked on Fitzy while you were out of town for your
Yeah.
birthday, like, a year ago.
Oh,
Yeah, so I think I've told you guys how my mom, was trying to steal Holly's little
yeah.
cuties off of her,
Clementines.
yeah, her clementines, but before that, she was considering what plants she was gonna steal, and that included Holly's trailing Hindu rope that
Oh,
was
I didn't
outside on the wall, and she was
know that.
like, "What's this?"
That's
I
so
was like, "It's a
sweet.
goddess in plant form." And then, my mom was like, "I want it," and I was like, "We'll see." And then come to find
I should have
out,
taken
I
it, dude, if I would have known because I sold that plant. I would have just
You
given it to her
did?
before we moved. I had to
I
sell
should have
it.
bought that plant.
I think
As Josh is next to me, "No, you shouldn't have. No, you
no.
shouldn't have." But, no, it's totally okay, Holly, don't even worry about it, make your money. But, she thought that plant was beautiful because yours was quite trailing at that point.
It was long, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
variegated one.
Oh my god! But, I bought 2 and I gave her 1, and they were, like,
Oh,
firm, they were happy, so
starting to trail a little bit too.
yeah, they were both trailing a little, like, they were very full pots, so I was like, "For $8?"
And I
I
actually love the look of the all green Hindu rope. I do have a variegated and a reverse variegated,
Yeah,
that I purchased, when I moved out here, but, like,
yeah.
sometimes I see just the plain green ones, and I'm like, "You are so gorgeous."
I think they're really pretty, and
Yeah.
it's funny because Matt, who's been on the podcast, he hates them, he thinks they're
Oh,
so ugly.
they look like brains or something.
Yeah, that and lithops make him wanna die, he hates them, and so I posted a picture that I bought them, and he was like, "Throwing up," and I was like, "I bought one for you." He's so
Throw up
angry,
emoji with a
and then he
green
saw it
face.
yeah, and then he saw it at my house, and he was like, what did he say? It looks like I think he what did he it was so funny. I wish he's working right now
He's
or else I would call him.
hilarious. Oh my
Oh, I
god.
love him. He said something along the lines of like he pointed at a nice plant in my kitchen and he's like, "It's like that plant decided to give up and became that plant." I
At
was like,
least he's
"You're
honest. He
so
knows what he
rude."
doesn't like.
I think he pointed at like my silver stripe, like not anything close to a Hindu rope, but it was very funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I died so much. Died laughing. But yeah, so I got
Yes.
myself a new Hoya, and that is going. You know that pot that you have, Holly? That it's from Target. It has like that like cylinder look, but it has a face.
Yes,
You know how
yes.
remember my old nanny kid when I left, she gave me the pot and it's like the brown one?
Yes. Yeah, I have the
'Cause
same one.
yeah, we have the same one because she
Yeah.
has brown skin, and she said, put a plant who has hair like me." And so
Mm.
I'm gonna put the Hindu rope in it because she has very coilly, curly hair.
Oh, that's so
I was
sweet.
gonna put a rickrack cactus in it, but it didn't feel quite right for her hair, and I killed mine. So, I was like but then I saw the Hindu
Curly
rope, and I was
hair.
like, "It is a lot tighter. It's curls."
Yes.
So I'm gonna put the Hindu
Oh,
rope in there, I'm gonna send her a picture.
that's so sweet. She's gonna
Mm,
love it.
she's gonna freak out.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, so thanks for listening to me ramble,
Oh
guys.
my god, of
We have
course.
a bit of an easy topic for you guys today,
Sure
but
do.
I'm looking forward to it, Holly. What are we talking about?
Me too. Today we're talking about statement plants. And it's funny
Yay!
because I was thinking about it. I'm like, wait, we've never really talked about statement plants. So I'm excited to dive in.
You said that to me, like, "Oh, well, let's do this," and I had to go through our whole catalog being like, "We never talked about this."
Right? So I think this is going to be really, really good. So
Awesome.
the first plant we have is we just have to get it out of the way, talk about it.
Yes.
The OG, the fiddle leaf fig. I think these are, I heard somebody say actually that they're like the number one plant in like interior design. So people who
It's always in,
solely,
setup photos,
yes, people
yeah.
who solely use plants as decor always reach for fiddle leaf fig. And
So
sadly
hard.
enough, it's usually only in dark corners.
Yup,
But
that's the truth.
they're beautiful if given enough light, and bonus points if you have like really high ceilings. So I remember
Oh, it
one
looks
time
so good because they get tall if you
they
treat it
these
right.
branches, then they stretch out. It really is beautiful. And in fact, there was
Gorgeous.
someone, I think her at was like at Cultivar or something.
Oh, cool, okay.
Yes, she had a giant one, and she actually used to hang, I think it was like kokedama plants from her fiddle leaf fig tree in her house.
It was that strong?
Yes, it was like big branches. So she had like mounted plants and kokedama. And I'm like, oh my God, that right there is like what dreams are made of.
That's insane.
It's so beautiful. I'm like, okay, that is how you do a fiddle leaf fig inside your house. But I do remember
Right.
one time, Tyson and I, we love Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach. There's a walkway, and I always just look at the houses. Of course, you have the ocean right here, and then you have the beach houses. Of course, I'm just always looking at how people design their houses and
'Cause
whatever.
I feel like off the beach, they don't have curtains, like, you can see inside everyone's
Oh my god,
home.
yes, you can look into their pantry if you wanted to.
Literally, and it's like everything's from Whole Foods.
Beautiful. But one house in particular had this really big, like almost like a bay window, but like multiple. It's like a corner of their house. Like
Yeah.
on the second floor was all windows, and it had a giant fiddle leaf fig. And I remember just looking in like in the future, I'm gonna manifest this. I'm gonna have a house by the beach with a giant.
Yes!
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
I've seen some on Facebook Marketplace, and they will, because again, like you're saying, if you don't have tall ceilings, if they get tall enough, they're gonna curve. But,
Yes.
it's just insane. It becomes like this massive branch, like the whole
Mhm.
trunk. It's crazy.
It
They
is.
grow really fast once they get going, I've
I
noticed. You
know.
know what I mean? Like mine, so because you got rid of your fiddle figs when you moved, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
It's
But
okay.
I bought one as kind of like my new plant for the new house. So this was
That's
I've had it
right.
for a year now. And at first I was like, I bought it close to winter. So I think it was going into hibernation, whatever plants do. And I was like, "Oh, it hates me. It doesn't do anything, and I lose a leaf here and there. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get rid of it." But I also was like, "No, like, there's something about it." Because mine was it was a rehab, so it was kind of beat up too. And all it took was like in March, like in the when spring was coming, one leaf to come out so perfect. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
and
I
it puts out a lot
know.
of leaves. I've probably gotten at least like 6 or 8 new leaves this year and only
Awesome.
lost like one. So yeah, it wasn't too
I love
bad.
the way yours is shaped too. Yours is shaped more like an actual tree versus like a big bush.
It's the
I think
top heavy ones, right?
yes, so
Can
beautiful.
I know we don't have time to get too much into it, but can you remind me like how they do that? Because you said it's like a grafting thing, right?
It kind of is. So I guess what they do when you see a new growth, you just like pinch the new growth off or cut it or notch. It's called like notching or something weird like that.
Right.
Also, I think what you can do is if you wanted to like propagate like a decent section, you could just cut that off and then it should send out a new branch from where that cut was. So there's like a couple different ways of doing it.
Right.
And then of course you would just like prune the bottom leaves if you wanted. So yeah.
Right, right. With fiddles too, for staging, I remember you telling me once for some reason it seems like people when it comes to staging, I don't know, I've seen both, but there's something about the top heavy ones being the ones that like everyone on Instagram wants. And I don't know
Yes.
why. I guess just a looks thing. I think both are very pretty
I think it's like that statement tree look, like
versus like
having a
a
tree.
long
Uh-huh, like having a tree
right.
in your house. So I
Right,
think
right.
both are fine. I guess if I had to choose, I probably would pick the one that you have, the more tree, because I
Yeah.
do want to have eventually hang kokedama plants from it.
So pretty. But
Oh, no.
but I think both. I think if you go for like the dwarf ones, the mini ones, I think the bush look is cute. I don't know if they
It
can even
is
do trees
cute.
with that size, but
Yes,
they're
yes.
cute.
Very
What do we
cute.
Oh, this next OG.
It's like the
Birds.
next OG.
Yeah, yes. The bird of paradise. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
It's beautiful. This is another one that needs a lot of light too.
Yes.
So, what I would do with a bird of paradise, I would actually get two and put it like outdoors on a patio, like in a throne-esque way. Like imagine if you had like a lounge,
Ooh,
like a
okay.
chase sort of like couchy lounge setup. I'm
Right.
pretty sure the Kardashians have this in one of their houses. And
What?
big pot, well, one of their patios, like big pots, and then you have two
Okay.
bird of paradise. I think that'd be beautiful.
That's oh,
It
I
really is like a throne at that point.
Yes. I literally was looking at one yesterday when I was on a walk with my nanny kid, and, like, the way like, the flowers just come out, and it's so thick and so beautiful,
Yeah.
and I think it's a plant that if you have the right sort of, environment, it can flower year round, I think, like, it's December, and there was like, flowers coming out of this one, it was
Yes.
outdoor, but I can't help but always think of the meme about the bird of paradise, and it's
Yes.
like, how you always imagined why it was called Bird of Paradise versus actually why, because if you guys don't know, I wish I had prepped this meme so I could pop it up on StreamYard so that for those of you watching, but it looks like like they colored what you probably see
Yeah,
and
it's like a crackhead chicken looking
it
thing.
looks like it reminded the chicken from Moana with like more feathers going
It's
everywhere, and it's
basically just
actually
a
supposed to look
head.
like a hummingbird drinking
Mhm,
like the
mhm.
stem.
I know.
Oh god, it's ridiculous.
And
What are your thoughts um on birds of paradise indoors? Because I feel like I don't often ever see them indoors.
yeah, I think they can look really beautiful if you if you do have like a lot of light, but
Right.
I'm not too keen on them as just throw it into a corner sort of situation. I mean,
Right.
they definitely won't flower. And
Okay.
I don't know. I think I, I would want to have maybe like a philodendron growing on a
Oh, yeah.
pole or a pothos growing on a pole versus something like that. Maybe
Right.
because I've just seen it done so much. So I do think they're
Totally.
really beautiful outdoors. And in fact,
Mhm.
they do get really tall if it's the white flower. The orange
Yeah.
flower one grows more in a cluster versus the the white one. Like if you guys ever go to
Yeah.
Mickey Hargitay's in West
Oh,
Hollywood,
yes.
they have one that's planted just outside of the nursery in the ground, like where the street parking is. Like it is
Oh,
huge. I don't know
wow.
if you remember this, Angelique, but theirs is
Yes. Near the
giant.
entryway? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah. Like the
Yes.
base itself is like 5 feet in length. Like it's huge. Um,
Oh my
and
god.
then in our neighborhood in Glendale, there was a house at the end of the corner, and they had some white bird of paradise that was so tall it literally hit the second story bedroom. That's how tall it was.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is insane.
So
So
it's
I
kind of
guess
like yeah.
So sorry, I cut you off.
So it's like if you want to see the plant get to that potential, it's definitely going to be need to be outside. But if you do truly just love the look of it indoors and you kind of want like a more, I don't want to say stunted growth version, but if you just want to keep it at a manageable size, then just keep
Right.
it by a bright window and like you should be fine. But
Right. I
yeah.
think though, it'd be fair to say that this is I think this is like the queen of outdoor statement plants.
I think so. That and fiddle leaf figs. I love fiddle leaf figs outdoors. And you see it more in California, like huge fiddle leaf trees growing. But
Yes.
yeah, I agree. I feel like it's very much like by a pool, the bird of
Yes.
paradise or a patio. I don't know. I think they're beautiful for outdoors.
Yes, I agree. Which I think on to our next statement plant, also gorgeous outdoors, but does
Yes,
amazing indoors as well, is the Monstera
exactly.
Deliciosa, which we've talked about a lot on the
We have.
show.
We have. I feel
Such a
like
classic piece.
it really is. I really think like in the plant house community
Yes.
alone, this is like the number one statement plant that everyone does. So if you're into
Good
collecting
starter
plants,
plant if you're new.
you
Mhm.
most likely have a monstera because it's the perfect plant. It really is. It's like tropical but sophisticated. It gets big. And you're right. They're so much easier to take care of indoors versus the other two.
Yes,
um,
yes.
it is the perfect statement plant. That's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah. I feel like, because it's my state. So we've already have the two indoor ones we've talked about. I have the fiddle
Yeah.
leaf and I have the Monstera deliciosa. That one, so that was one of the plants when I was out of town. It was really getting upset because it was already thirsty during my film shoot. And I was like,
Mm.
Sunday, you and me outside, hose. Like I had plans. And then I didn't get to water it and it was starting to droop like severely. And I
Yeah.
was like, and
I
so
know.
Josh's mom, I got here on Saturday. Josh's mom was gonna get here early Sunday morning. And I was like, I want some of the plants to look okay when she arrives.
Aw.
And so I watered it and I hosed it at night. And then I stayed up. I was like, I'm not letting it get too cold. So I stayed up, I let it drain, and then I brought it inside with
Aw.
Josh's help. And it was so impressive because I feel like even with pothos, sometimes like you need, depending how much you've abused the plant, you need 2 days for it to perk up.
Yes.
The Monstera was perked up by the time she got here at like 9 in the morning. I was like,
Wow.
I knew
There's
you
so
wouldn't
many
let me down.
women. Yes.
So it's a very, if you guys are wanting to design your home with greenery and you want a statement, but you're like unsure, or if you're new to plants, it was one of my first plants, this one. And it's very forgiving. And
It
it's just,
is.
it looks like you know what you're doing as far as design. It's so like complex to look at. It's just a beautiful, beautiful plant.
It truly is. And I think to beginners, it could look intimidating. Like you said, you look like you know what you're
Right.
doing with plants.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, honestly, any plant can really be a statement plant in your home. It all depends on how you style it. And we're pretty much today talking about like large plants. So, keep that in mind. But I wrote down a couple ideas for you guys
Oh,
of
yes.
statement plants. Like, if you just want something different, if you're like, there are some people who hate fiddle leaf figs. You don't really
Right.
want. So here's a couple ideas. So in my house, my statement plant, even though I have a few, my main one is a philodendron bipennifolium, and it's on like a
Ooh.
hoop. You can
Oh,
put it
yes.
on, yes, you can put it on a moss pole or like a plank of wood. And I just really like it because it just grows straight up. It's kind of jungly, but again, it's really big. And I have it in Hilton Carter's collaboration with Target in
Oh,
the big,
yes.
yes, I have
I
it in that
remember when
pot.
you bought that. You post I
Yes.
think believe there's pictures on Holly's Instagram, right, Holly?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
there
yes.
are. It's
Look
the
for
most
it.
beautiful, pot. It's, like, the really big one. So that's what I did. And then the next one that I have that I would love to have in my own house if I had more space, but it's the Song of India Dracaena. This is like a bright green and yellow Dracaena, and I'm typically not a Dracaena fan, but I really think if you can opt for a large specimen, preferably with multiple arms, it looks so different, like far from any other one. And you can essentially do that hanging of kokedama from the branches, like there was somebody I saw on YouTube and they had one in their outdoor patio, the Song of India, and the arms
Oh
are
my
just
gosh.
stretching and it looked very whimsical. Like it looked so beautiful. Like you almost didn't think of it as a Dracaena. So
Yes.
I just think it's so beautiful.
I'm trying, this was the one that you mentioned that I couldn't think of at first, but oh yes, you see these at like Lowe's and Home
You
Depot and
do.
stuff. Yes, so this
Yes.
is a very accessible plant too. It's not like a crazy collector's plant that you have to
No,
try to
not
get
at
your hands
all.
on.
I think the larger specimen aspect may be hard, but let's just say you buy one in a 10-inch pot, which
Right.
those are accessible too, and just like let it grow, give it a good amount of light, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be so pretty. So,
Oh,
yeah, I like that one. And the crazier it grows and the more wild it grows, the better. I mean, in my opinion, that's what I like about it.
it's
I know,
fun.
yeah, I know like the yucca tree or whatever they call it, that one
Oh,
grows much
yeah.
straight up.
Which
This
you can
one
get a
can
lot in
definitely
Arizona.
wind around and yeah, it looks really cute.
Yeah.
And then the last plant as just an idea for you guys is any Hoya growing on a hoop. I think it
Oh
looks
my
really cute.
god. You
I
see
have
these sometimes at Trader Joe's sold like this.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
totally do. I know sometimes like the hoop garden stakes can be a little bit harder to find, but Amazon has actually started to sell it, so you can always check that out. Um I
Mm.
have my variegated carry growing like this, and
Oh, yes, you do. It's so beautiful.
thank you. It hasn't really grown a whole lot though since where I put it. Like it's surviving, but basically I got it to get this big from when we were in California and it was grown outdoors. But
Literally climbing her wall.
it was. I had to like pry it off the house because the little roots were just like holding on to the
Yeah,
house. But I think it looks really beautiful. I have like that mid-century modern plant stand. So I have it on
yeah,
that. I have it planted in a very like smooth terracotta pot. I believe it's like
yeah.
I think it's like a not a 12-inch, between an 8 and a 10, somewhere around there. And
Okay.
then and then it's growing on the hoop. So I just kind of like it's the centerpiece and I have a few little plants underneath it. It just
Yeah.
looks really cute. So yeah.
Oh, I have my baby one, which I'm hoping one day can look like yours, but
It
it's in the
will.
4-inch right now. It gives me new growth. So I'm like, I'll give you a little stake just to go off of, see what
Yes.
happens. I think it's so pretty.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's so pretty. And you know, a lot of times, well, I've noticed in Florida, you can buy statement Hoyas on either hoops or I've even seen, I have seen the Hindu rope or sorry, compacta
oh yeah,
grown.
sorry.
Sorry. The I always call it compacta, so I don't know why I said Hindu rope. Okay.
Because
But
I said it earlier, that's why.
but I've seen them grown on moss poles. Like literally growing
Oh,
straight up. Um there's a place
interesting.
in DeLand, Florida called EFG Orchids and they
Oh,
were
yes.
selling them there. I was like, "What? I didn't even know it could grow like that." Because I just think of
Yeah,
it as a type of cultivar that just like trails. But anyways,
right.
my point being, I
That's really
feel like we're
cool.
starting to see Hoyas grown out more and sold as
Mhm.
statement plants. So if you don't necessarily want to wait for it to grow or you don't have a ton of light, get it,
Right.
buy it large, maybe give it a grow light to continue it, to have it continuously growing.
Right, right,
Um,
exactly.
so yeah, that is
That is
my
so
idea.
cool. Well, before we wrap up, guys, because we are entering the holiday season, I did want to point out just like one or two statement holiday plants. And I think
Yes.
the big one we all know about is the poinsettia, particularly the red ones.
Mhm.
But I think there's a white one with red speckles, which I think is absolutely
Yes.
gorgeous.
And then there's a red one with white speckles.
Oh my god,
The pink
yes,
speckles
so
better.
beautiful. I think this plant is absolutely gorgeous,
I do
and
too.
it's so fun. I think and they even have, like, ones that are all white, which are I don't even know if I mentioned that. I think I did, but they're just so pretty. You can even find softer ones that look a bit more pink, and you can find these anywhere, Lowe's,
You
Home Depot.
know oh shit, sorry.
No, it's okay, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I had 2 giant statement pink poinsettias at our wedding.
No way. Oh, because it was a December wedding.
December,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So we
so
had Philly
beautiful.
figs, we had some other plants, snake plants and stuff, and then we had 2 very large pink poinsettias.
Oh, that sounds
It just
so
reminded me, sorry, I had
beautiful. Do you know
before
what
I
happened to
forgot.
them?
My mom kept them, I think,
Okay,
and
cool.
they probably died, but it's
Just a little heads up for you guys. If you want a poinsettia, go to Costco if you have a membership. They sell the huge ones, like
yeah,
their statement level size for like 20 or less. It's something
'cause
crazy.
they
You know,
get
maybe
pricey at, like, nurseries, but Costco, yes, they have great prices for the
they're
poinsettias.
they're like 2 feet tall sometimes. They're really
Yeah,
big. It's absolutely
imagine
insane.
2 on your front porch, like, as an entryway, like, oh my
Oh, yes, they're good out indoors or outdoors.
mhm.
They're beautiful. So there's that one, and then obviously it comes in the name Christmas cactus is a great statement
Yes,
piece. Obviously, it survives year round just fine as like a cacti succulent sort of plant, but it flowers around
it's so
Christmas time, and
beautiful,
it's
and you
like
can buy them a lot around Christmas time,
yeah,
they're
they're
everywhere.
everywhere. Because there's
Yeah.
also the Easter one, so, like, you can get either of those, and they has these the ones that my mom has is, like, hot pink flowers that are
Aw, I love
gorgeous, but they also sometimes
it.
in orange and white. So
And
they're
a
just
peachy
yes,
color,
that
like
peach that's what I mean by orange,
yes,
yeah, it's
yes.
so beautiful. So those are just my 2 Christmassy honorable mentions. I just think that they're so lovely during this time of year.
I do too. That's such a
Yeah.
smart thing to bring up because if you when you let them grow so big and, like, dangle,
Yes.
they really do have a beautiful jungle vibe to them all year round, and then, of course, during the holidays, you get lovely flowers, so
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think too with the Christmas cactus, depending how you treat it, sometimes you'll get flowers a few months earlier too. My mom started getting flowers, I think, around
mm,
it was only last week, Thanksgiving, but still, like,
yeah.
earlier than expected. So,
It's
I
interesting
just
because
think
they
they're
have
fun.
the Thanksgiving cactus, and then they have what they call Easter cactus and Christmas cactus,
I
so
forgot about the Thanksgiving one.
yeah, I think the Thanksgiving ones are the ones with the more claw-looking leaves.
Yes, I agree. I think you're right.
And they get interchangeably labeled as Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, but traditionally, the Thanksgiving ones have the little claws.
Yes, the little teeny ones.
Yes. I
Well,
don't know if
Holly
you oh,
okay,
sorry.
no, please go ahead, go ahead.
I know we're wrapping up. I don't know if you
No,
had
it's okay.
Norfolk Island pine on your list at all, but
Oh, no, I
that is
didn't.
yeah, so those are sold a lot during the holidays as, like, little Charlie Brown Christmas trees, but
Yeah.
it's actually what I heard is the only type of, pine tree that can live year-round in houseplant conditions. So, anyways, I just wanted to point
Oh,
that out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're
That is so
beautiful.
awesome. Well, Holly, this has been a really fun catch-up episode. I
It
miss hanging
has.
out.
I know, I missed you.
I miss you too. I know we say this every time, guys, but we don't record every week. So, like, life gets busy. Like,
Yeah.
having my other podcast too, it's like, man, like, I don't think I would be able to talk to my friends nearly as much if wasn't scheduling them in for 2 hours a day.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I just really appreciate it, and I'm excited. We have a few more episodes that we have scheduled for December, guys, so we'll keep you posted
Yes.
on everything. And Holly, where can people find you on the socials?
So you guys can find me at concrete botanical underscore and at concrete botanical on TikTok and shop concrete botanical and concretebotanical.com for all things terrazzo, including holiday terrazzo. So check it out.
Ah! Oh, I did. I shared this on my Facebook. You had some really cute,
Yes.
the plates that you what are they not called? Trays, the trays you were doing.
Toys. We have ornaments, we have planters, we have coasters. So check it out.
Well, I'm excited. I literally have had friends being like, "I need to shop local. Where should I go?" And I was like, "ConquerBotanical.com." Right away.
Oh my God, bless you. Thank you so
I
much.
try. And you guys can find me at Sucka for Plantas with 2 C's, and you can catch the podcast at Boozy Botanical Podcast on Instagram. We drop new episodes every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and YouTube for video. Oh, and if you guys want to email us any questions or collab opportunities or anything, it's at boozybotanicalpodcast@gmail.com. And you can always shoot us a DM as well. We love to hear from you.
Yes.
And if you like what you heard today, please leave us a 5-star rate and review on Apple Podcasts because it really helps us with the
Pretty
charts. And I
please.
think that's it, Holly, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
it. Yes. Thank you guys for another Boozy Tuesday. We love you so much.
We love you.
And on that note,
Cheers.
cheers.